1, 2, 3, 4.
Good morning, everyone, and welcome. Hi, everyone. This is Jewish Talk, coming to you live from Nassau Community College on 90.3 WHPC, also streaming on the iHeart and iTunes apps. And this program is later archived on Spreaker.com. So, hi there. My name is Rabbi Pearl. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. This all depends on when you're listening, on when you're watching. In fact, you can watch us right now live on my Facebook page. So, welcome everyone to Jonathan Wolf, to Harvey Kipnis, to Gene, and Jonathan Wolf. I want you to know that one of our wonderful listeners is Michael Wolf, a regular attendant at our beautiful synagogue, and he wants to know and say hello to you. And you're from New Jersey, and he is from Long Island. So, good morning, everybody. Right now, we find ourselves in the Jewish month of Adar. In fact, in the Jewish calendar this year, it's a double month. 2 months of Adar is a Jewish leap year. And the month of Adar, which is upon us, and which brings us, of course, closer to the holiday of Purim, is just around the corner. So good morning to Doug as well from time to time. I will recognize those who are joining us on Facebook Live, but don't forget, dear friends, I don't want those who are just listening to us, don't think you're somehow second class. You are first class, okay, dear friends, because we're coming out to you from Nassau Community College, and we're so appreciative of you joining us every Sunday morning or listening to us in the evening at 11 p.m. This great program is rebroadcasted. So, let me talk about the word Purim. The word Purim means lottery. The wicked Haman, in the story of Purim, made a lottery to choose a random date to destroy the Jews. And the date fell on the month that worked to our benefit. Why? Because the month that he chose in the lottery was the month in which Moses was born. Unbeknown to him, the dice was loaded by the master lottery maker of the universe himself. So again, a lottery figures very prominently in the story of Purim. And I want to say hello to Patty Fuchs. Thank you so much. So a lottery is what brought about the miracle of Purim. As the Megillah records, Queen Esther, in the Megillah Esther, says the following words: in the first month, the month of Nisan, in the 12th year of the King Ahasuerus, Pur, that is a lot, was cast in the presence of Haman from day to day and from month to month. Bottom line is, he had chosen the month, he had drawn the month of Adar, and he was happy. What he didn't know was that Moses was also born on the 7th day of Adar, and of course, the rest is history. So the Haman knew that Moses, the Redeemer of the Jewish people, had passed away on the 7th day of Adar. So when it fell on the 7th day, he was rejoicing. It was all over the place. But what Haman didn't know was that Moses was also born on the 7th day. Moses was one of the very few who was born and passed away on the very same date. So the very fact that the lottery fell on the date of Moses' birth was in itself the principal miracle. So today, I'm discussing of why we don't win the lottery. There we won the lottery, but why is it today when we go and play the lottery, we don't usually win? Now, lottery mania hits America from time to time, and I'm sure you remember that Mega Millions jackpot that reached astronomical numbers. I think, what was it, back in September, October? $1.6 billion. Now, the odds of winning were 1 in, 302,500,000, amazing numbers. To put into some kind of perspective, the chances of you winning, you are 300 times more likely to get struck by lightning than to win a multi-state jackpot. If you're expecting a newborn, your odds of naturally having quintuplets is 1 in 55 million. Speak to Dr. Kilshevsky. He knows all about that, which is 5 times more likely than matching the winning numbers. So, yet, guess what? We all put our money down, and we hope. And yes, if I'm not mistaken, somebody out there in South Carolina won. There was actually a winner. The truth is, it wasn't me. I confess that I too ignored the odds and chose to help God, if he so wished, to make me super rich by buying one ticket. More than one ticket, I said to myself, that's a waste of money. It's foolish. But if God believes my good intentions about what I do with the money, I knew I had to buy one ticket and rely on God to perform a supernatural miracle. We didn't choose the right numbers, my friends, because we weren't supposed to win. See, to the millions of us left holding a worthless piece of paper, the reason you and I didn't win isn't because we didn't choose the right numbers. We didn't choose the right numbers because we weren't supposed to win. And I want to share with you a following remarkable story that will shed some light on this issue. But first of all, I want to say hello to all those who are joining us. Let's see now. To Greta, all the way from Little River, South Carolina. Oh, Greta, were you the winner of that 1.6 million? Jeffrey Rosen, thank you, Jeffrey, for joining us today. So, let me share with you the following story. It happened many years ago in the city in the vicinity of Dvinsk. A pious but almost penniless person found himself in dire need of a large sum of money to make weddings for his eldest daughter. The man had always throughout his life put his trust in God, yet he also knew that blessings require human endeavor. You've got to do something about it. You can't rely on an open miracle. So almost by chance, but what he took as a divine omen, a man bumped into him after apologizing. He said he's selling lottery tickets. It's a true story, my friends. So perhaps he suggested their meeting in this unusual fashion as a purpose. The cost of the ticket was minor, and the possible gain would solve all of this holy man's problems. If he won, he would win all the money he needed to marry off his daughter. So he felt, this must be divine providence. I met this guy and he's selling tickets. So guess what? He bought the ticket. He took it home. And in the synagogue, he prayed for a miracle. Not so far away from his home was another guy who was the exact opposite. He was a ganef, a lowlife, an unscrupulous businessman who regularly swindled others and is always deeply in debt. And he also decided to buy a lottery ticket to help him overcome his financial difficulties. Now, the talk of the town was that pious person had bought a ticket. And this thief, this ganef, he had a daring idea. Since God would sure look with much more favor on the ticket of the holy man than his own, he decided he would surreptitiously slip into the house of the pious guy, substitute the ticket that he had purchased for the one in the possession of its righteous owner. He felt the other guy is going to win and his number is going to come up, so he switched number tickets. You can probably guess what happened. The pious person was stunned to learn God answered his prayers. His ticket was the winning number. His ticket. Right, the one he actually had. The thief was devastated. He had, by his own illegal efforts, lost his fortune, because the one he left behind and with the pious person became the winning ticket. But he wasn't willing to concede defeat. With unbelievable chutzpah, he demanded a rabbinical judgment which would undo the consequences of his theft. So, guess what? He goes to the local rabbi. He admits that he stole the ticket, and for that ticket, he would make repayment. He actually said, I put my ticket into this man's, and I took his ticket. But the winning ticket was his. He said, this was mine. I actually bought this winning ticket. I put into the other guy's pocket and took his, but it's my ticket. Why should he be deprived of the winnings from something he himself bought it? Well, the rabbi, well known in the yeshiva world, the Rabbi Meir Simcha, a prominent leader in the Eastern European, he was brought to his bezdin, to his court. Of course, the rabbi awarded the proceeds to the innocent holder of the ticket. And he condemned the thief not only for his crime, but being so foolish enough to believe that it was the ticket which had the mazel, the good fortune, rather than the person. You see, God destined the winner. It was not the combination of the numbers. And that's why somebody, I don't know if you know, there was a little sideshow in that famous, huge jackpot over there. There was one person who got a remarkable break in that Mega Millions jackpot. This was an individual who lived in Camden County, an 87-year-old gentleman called Earl Livingston. What happened? He tripped, fell, and broke his hip while he was going to the store to buy a ticket to that night's massive Mega Millions, the 1.6 billion. When he got to obviously he broke his hip, so they took him to the local Jefferson Stratford Hospital in Stratford, and he told the caregivers that they asked him, what happened? Where were you going? He said, you know where I was? I fell because I was going to buy this ticket. So you know what? They felt so bad for him. So they invited him to join their pool of tickets. Guess what? This guy who was going to the store to buy it, who fell down, broke his hip, found himself in hospital, he wound up being one of the 141 players who nearly won the grand prize. One of their tickets drew the first 5 numbers, but missed the final mega ball, which could have won them, 1 point, who knows what, 6 billion. But for the 5 numbers that they did get, they won $1 million, which was split evenly. Not bad. So, you see, why did he win? Why not the whole pot? Why was the winner someone in South Carolina? I think it's actually Greta Engstrom. I think she doesn't want to tell me publicly. But Greta, if you were the winner, please give me a call. We have some business to take care of. Just joking, everybody. But think about that man. He fell, gets to the hospital, and he wins part of $1 million. Why not the whole pot? How come it was somebody else? And most importantly, why wasn't I the winner? It wasn't because of the numbers on our tickets, my friends. It was because of the names on God's heavenly ledger. God decides who wins. Yeah, okay, you got the numbers. But it's, my friends, there's a much bigger hand behind everything. Now, one of the things that we often joke around the table is, if you were to win the lottery, how would it change your life? And that's something that, or what would be the first thing you would do? I often say to my friends, if I was to win, the first thing I would do was go to pray at the graveside of the Rebbe, of the Lubavitcher Rebbe, the Ohel, to pray for safety. Safety of mind and spirit. Because a lot of money can drive you nuts. Let's consider, if you just won $550 million, okay, how would your life change? I know some people, if they won that kind of money, the first thing that they would change would be their telephone number. Would you continue living in the same house or the community? Would you keep your current job or hobbies? Would you go to the same synagogue? I hope you would. Undoubtedly, there will be many changes in your life. You might choose to upgrade your house, your travels, your vacations. You may now frequent more upscale shops or restaurants. But how much would such a win affect your relationships? Would your closest friends and confidants still remain that way? Would your friends view you as the same person? Would you become more generous and kind? Or would you become more wary and guarded? I remember reading, of a New Hampshire woman who actually held the Power lottery ticket at that time, and she won $559 million. She described herself as a longtime state resident and an engaged community member. And what was her problem? What was the issue? She was actually fighting in court to remain anonymous so that she could continue to walk into the grocery store or attend a public event without being known. And she was fighting in court that she did not want her name to be announced. She wanted to continue living in New Hampshire and plans to contribute a portion of her winnings to charity and give back to the community that's given her so much. But she wished to do so without others knowing about it. By the time, I don't know what the outcome was, because I just heard about it recently, the courts were presented with, they had to decide whether she could maintain her anonymousness. But her request highlights how a change in our status, financial, social, otherwise, can really alter our relationships with others for good and for anything, not so good. Now, it is clear goal in Judaism, quoting from the famous Micah, Hatzne leches, a person should always strive to walk modestly with God. Because Judaism abhors flaunting and praising those who do goodness. God doesn't, Judaism doesn't like this kind of stuff. And we always applaud those who do goodness quietly for its own sake, rather than for personal recognition or the affirmation of others. Maimonides teaches that the highest form of charity is one in which the giver doesn't know the receiver, and the recipient doesn't know who helped him. On the other hand, another aspect to consider is when someone publicly does good deeds, he encourages others to act similarly. Think about it when my good friend Bill Gates and Warren Buffett started the Giving Pledge. They encouraged other extremely wealthy people to also commit more than half of their capital to charity and to social causes. So in a certain sense, their generosity, publicly given, spurred more acts of generosity. In fact, the Rebbe once responded to a philanthropist who wished to donate anonymously, if a building is dedicated in your name and your name on its walls is visible to all, others will also want to give, and more people will be benefited. More people will give more charity. Well, most of us don't find ourselves in this position of winning a windfall like this New Hampshire woman. But all of us do have choices in how to conduct ourselves in our interactions with others, whether we do something quietly, anonymously, or more publicly to encourage more good deeds. So really, no matter what we end up doing, what I share with you today is our main consideration should be to increase our acts of goodness and kindness in our world. Again, I want to say hello to everybody joining us, listening on the radio and streaming live, and those who have joined us on Facebook Live. Hello to Andrea Fish. This is Shavua Tov from MS, Massachusetts, I believe. And also hello to Devorah Mayhew. Thank you so much for joining us this morning. And everybody else who is listening as well. And let me just give you an interesting little piece of information, fascinating, about the talking lottery. Jewish history. We're talking about lotteries today because we're in the month of Adar, and the word Purim is the holiday of the month of Adar, means a lottery. And Haman drew a lottery. But all the way back in our history, there was actually a talking lottery. Our history tells us there was a lottery where everyone was a winner. I'm speaking about the 12 tribes of Israel, where they were amazing, mighty warriors. And you can think about when they first came into the land of Israel, they had to be divided up. And, there could be a lot of bickering going over who lives where. The 12 tribes had to have that land divided up. Fortunately, there was no fighting going over that, because the Torah tells us there was an interesting procedure for dividing up the Holy Land amongst the 12 tribes. Guess what? The land was divided up by lottery. This is how it worked. The names of the 12 tribes are written down and placed in one box. The coordinates of the 12 territories into which a land was to be divided was placed in a second box. Then, pairs of lots, one from each box, were drawn. To back it up, a temple priest was there to prophesy each pick, ensuring the faith of the lottery's divine accuracy. So they did two things. They actually drew a lottery, one Shevet, one tribe, let's say A. They pulled out another from the other box, which would be his territory. And then they also was required that the temple priest would prophesy using his abilities to match it up. To top it off, the lottery tickets themselves Not only did they drew the name and the territory, the actual lottery itself miraculously announced each pairing. So no one questioned the results. So guess what? That's how the land was divided up, with a lottery, a speaking lottery. Secure in their mission, the tribe set forth to settle the land with gusto. There was no problem. Nobody complained about what they got. So there were those who, destined for mountains, climbed to great heights. Those who got forest areas, they were able to fell mighty trees. Then there were those who got the valleys. They were able to bring forth fine fruit. And those who lived near the sea, they were able to sail out to the distance for trade. I share this with you, my friends, because the truth is, you and me and every one of us, a similar lottery was administered to the soul, to our souls, before we left the heavens and came down to this world. What do I mean? You see, each one of us, each soul, is paired with a particular parcel of land. It was destined for us to talk here on Sunday morning. It was destined for you and me and for all of us, many of us living on Long Island, and those living wherever you may be. Each soul was paired with that particular parcel of land. Each of us given a unique destiny, a lot in life. And that's why many of our good friends listening today, like Mrs. Dorothy Rothstein, she knows what New Lots Avenue is all about. That's how they got his name, New Lots Avenue, who's named after Lot, the wife, in the Torah. You see, all the matches in our lives are divinely ordained. Sometimes, particularly, we hit rough spots in our lives. We may lose faith in the lottery's divine accuracy. Right? We may complain. Our gusto may flag. Along comes the Torah and tells us, reminds us, just as the land of Israel was portioned up amongst the 12 tribes through a lottery, each tribe got what they destined for them, we must remind ourselves that our soul was paired up with a specific divine mission, with a unique destiny to fulfill. We too, each of us, were asked to settle and to develop a particular parcel of land with acts of goodness and kindness. The knowledge that this is a match made in heaven reminds us, for all of us, to be confident, to have that commitment and that excitement in tackling our portion in life. And I want to give you some interesting advice again. If you're going out there and planning to win the Powerball or whatever, there's a Mega Millions. You see, I personally don't buy these tickets on a regular basis. But all of it makes me realize that if we are honest with ourselves, we're already rich. You see, we all have been given unique gifts and talents. Most likely, we didn't wake up one morning and realize we had them. We worked hard to develop those God-given gifts and form them into something that we can be proud of. Each person, we're all rich. Some of us know how to write. Others know how to speak. Some have tremendous talents in working with children. Others have love and empathy that can brighten an elderly person's life. Some know how to play a musical instrument. Others know how to play hooky. Others can drive heavy machinery with ease. And some of us are blessed with the gift of material abundance. That as well, not so bad. But then, are we perhaps a bit arrogant because of those gifts? Do we look down on people who don't possess the same gifts that we have? And most important questions of all, are we investing our skills in the right places? Are we mindful of one who gave us, Hashem, who gave us those gifts? And are we using them to fulfill His desire to use them to make this world into a better place, into a holier place? So, will I ever win the lottery? Will you? Most likely the answer is no. But there is a lottery that we've already won. the lottery of life and the things and the persons that we're paired and interact with. Reminding us today, let us use our assets wisely. And by the way, Purim, because of the leap year this year, Purim is celebrated in the second month of Adar, because we want to connect the proximity from Purim to Pesach. We want to bring those two great holidays very as close as possible. Therefore, Purim in a double year, in a leap year, is always celebrated in the second month. And that is, of course, Purim begins on Wednesday night, March 20th, and continues through Thursday, March 21st this year. And if you happen to be in Jerusalem, make a note on your calendar. In Jerusalem itself, they also celebrate Purim on Friday, March 22. Talking about life, not everybody, or I should say more positively, there are many who face different addictions. Drinking, alcohol, gambling. And therefore, I want to conclude our program today by reminding everyone that you are invited next Sunday at the Chabad of Mineola. We are hosting a recovery day under the auspices of JACS, which JACS stands for Jewish Persons Facing Alcohol and Other Addictions. We are coming together from 10 until about 2 to learn techniques, to share, and to strengthen ourselves. Now, many people, thank God that I know, are not involved in that. But if you wish to join this and get an idea of how people go through their struggles and how they strengthen themselves as they work with the 12 steps and other good things, I look forward to, with Hashem Sel, to be one of the guest speakers about Torah's view on recovery. You're more than welcome. But all we're asking is, there's no charge, but you must make RSVP today and tomorrow right away at 516-739-3636. And it includes the breakfast, lunch, and the speakers, and an opportunity. And certainly if you are involved in recovery and looking forward to strengthening yourself, this is an amazing opportunity. So this is your host, Rabbi Pearl. Thank you. Again, our phone number is 516-739-3636 for the opportunity to join us for the recovery day next Sunday. And meanwhile, wishing everybody a good week. Shalom.